Hello and welcome to another new Reading Cast. As always, my name's Johno and I'm joined by James. How you doing, James?
Great, yeah, happy to be here again.
So, in this game, on round 4 of the BABW elimination, we have on the left Reading's Joey, and on the right Oxford's Brendan. And I should mention, for this Reading versus Oxford matchup, that this video is sponsored by Pete from Oxford. Pete and all the guys from Oxford are all great guys, despite the narrative that we sow in these videos. They're all great guys, and we encourage you, should you get the opportunity on a Monday night, to go along to Thirsty Meeples, which is in the middle of town, where you'll find them playing. It is a good venue, actually, where they play, and it's a nice cafe, and they're all great guys to play Outrun with. And you may even learn something from Brendan, I don't know.
Oh, you'll learn plenty from Brendan, like how to lose.
Yes, so Brendan is obviously a great player, Does Joey currently hold the best
Brendan holds.
Does Joey hold the best Reading player mantle?
Yes.
So this is a kind of top Reading versus Oxford. This is no me versus Pete game. This is yeah. So
not even a me versus Pete game.
So this is so Joey is playing Noise on the left and
Two
Brendan's playing
titans
NEH on the
of
right.
Reading and Oxford swinging at each other.
So, now we both know, and Joey will also know, that Brendan's NEH is Bush Shot. This is a fairly conservative opening, of just installing to us, taking a credit, no installing agendas and assets, or just taking loads of money. But we see a Quandary on R&D. I mean, that's not going to do long-term protection. And Joey's going to faceplant into a Cortex Lock and HQ for... Oh, Joey. For 3 net damage. I guess it was lucky he installed that Data Sucker. And he loses a Faust and a Parasite and a Daily Costs. Those are all good cards. Cortex Lock is that's a good include here, I think. I mean, we talked a little bit before. You mentioned that, as far as you're concerned, NEH has 2 spare influence. Butcher Shop NEH has 2 spare influence. And Cortex Lock is a good include, I think.
So it's people either seem to play 2 Elis, 1 Cortex Lock, or a Snare.
Is a Snare actually that common?
I don't think so these days, but it's one of the other things you can do with the 2 influence.
Do you see like Architects and stuff?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And Cortex Lock, Cortex Lock is a really good face check card, but it's also quite good against. Is it good against the likes of Faust? Maybe not. Does it punish people who run card light? It's not too.
It's just quite a good. It's quite a good early game piece of ice,
and it's strength 4, so it's definitely good against. It's good against the likes of Mimic as well, for sure.
It's pretty cheap to res as well. 2 credits.
That's true. Yeah, it's cheap to res. It does also buy you a window. So because Joey's now spending this entire turn drawing by the looks of it, it does give Brendan the opportunity to install some assets.
But he could have pushed out an Astro script there if he'd had one.
Does that suggest he doesn't have one?
I don't know. Brendan's quite a methodical player. He doesn't take a lot of risks.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if he was quite conservative. Yeah, okay. So, meanwhile, Joe's got ESOPs online, so hopefully his economies can start rolling in. It's just got Street Peddler.
Doing a bit of peddling.
Yeah. Street Peddler's a great card as well.
That's a good card, for sure.
It's good. It's a very anarchy draw.
The combination of I've Had Worse, that, and Wildside and Pancakes combination have turned Anarch into a decent state as far as drawing cards is concerned, which used to be one of the biggest problems with the faction.
And obviously Faust can turn all those cards into broken subroutines. So yeah.
Well, and the Street Peddler is a kind of nice anarchy themed inclusion in terms of like a mid-run install, right?
Yeah.
Rather than a kind of shapery clone chip.
Yeah, yes, that's true. Yeah, it's kind of instant speed Anarch as well. Yeah.
And thematic as well, I think.
Sure. So more assets from Brendan and a hedge fund. So it looks like he's trying to money up. If you're Joey, do you check these remotes?
I don't know.
It's tough.
Joey always seems to check the wrong remotes or the wrong ice.
Yeah. He's got an imp, so even if he hits an agenda that he decides he doesn't want to steal, he could imp it.
I think he's probably looking for Wildside and Pancakes at this point.
Yeah, you get the feel. He obviously wants them early, so you get the feeling that he might just like to draw a lot until he gets them so that they can set up his draw. So he uses Street Peddler to install Lamprey, which will mill. It's one of those cards we mentioned when we were watching Barry's video. It's one of those cards that people often have not to play, but just because it's a cheap virus. So
it was in a particularly good position at this time because these kind of light ice butcher shop decks, if you can
of
control
punish.
their credit pool,
Yeah, that's true.
which you can do with Lamprey, it's a pretty strong thing to be able to do.
But I mean,
Forces
right
a
there,
purge as well.
right there, he installed it and immediately sold it. Okay, so Brendan's going to score breaking news. He's still got a click spare, so we might, as I just noticed,
I dumps the ESOPs straight away.
As I just noticed, I forgot that. Yeah, so Brendan trashes the ESOPs, which is pretty strong.
Yeah, it's very strong.
Because ESOPs is a really, really key card in.
That's the most
noise.
important card in this noise deck.
Yeah, I mean it pays for everything. So yeah, it's important. But having said that, he does have Wildside. So he's gonna hopefully start to build up a bit of momentum, bit of card momentum. Looks like he's got Faust in hand as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that go down. Maybe see some runs. Meanwhile, Brendan's going to create a new remote. Is there anything interesting to be said about the fact that he put that breaking news out? He had it out on the table, but he didn't try and go for a kill with it or anything. Could he have left it on the table a bit longer, maybe?
Maybe. I mean, if Joey doesn't run it and you don't score it, he'll probably just leave it alone.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could possibly save it for later when you think you've got a kill.
He might check it, actually, because he might think it's a Jackson, so maybe you do use it.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe against noise, yeah. So, what do you think's in this remote as we see a Faust go down?
Don't know. Could be an agenda, Sansan.
So, I mean, my immediate thought was it might be a wraparound hiding an Astro, but it's not. It's an NPD. Okay, so Brendan declined to res, and
everyone has a good giggle at that.
Joey declines to steal the NPD, which I think is pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Looking at the kind of situation on the board, he doesn't really want to do that.
No, but he does install Josh's Chronotype, so now his Wildside cards come free. And Brendan might as well advance and does the NPD because there's no mystery about what it is now. No. So it just means he can leave it there and just threaten it,
score,
so that at any point he could score it.
Tags are horrible for this noise deck because pretty much the entirety of it is critically based upon the 3 resources. And
there's no I've had worse in Joey's deck or even Plascretes.
Yes.
So he's very kind of I don't know, very bold with.
Yeah, I described it the other day as a kind of arrogant noise build where you use imp to solve your problems rather than
because he's not even rich. He's not even there's no money.
There's no money in the deck.
It just assumes that nothing bad will ever happen.
It's basically once Faust was released, this became the kind of premier noise build, and it's one of the reasons it tends to struggle against these kind of NEH kill decks because no, they're not playing any I've had worse. They're not playing any money.
I feel like it's not an automatic include, but I've had worse strongly deserves some consideration, even for this kind of build, right?
I think people have gone back and forward on it. I mean, I know Brendan considered it the strongest Anarch card in Order and Chaos.
Yeah, well, it's good, and it's good because it doesn't just defend against the kill; it actively disrupts the kill.
Interestingly, Joey. Did he take some net damage there, or did he just dump a Corroder in the bin?
I think it was on the Street Peddler, I think he pedalled.
For the cash,
and there's a Corroder on it as well. Yeah. So, who's in the stronger position here?
Well, Brendan, probably.
You think it's Brendan, okay.
He's got 15 credits.
He's got more money, he's got 1 agenda point, but I mean, we don't know what agendas are on the bin, if any.
Yeah, Joey's in a reasonable position. He's got his 3 key resources out. He's got a clone ship, he's got a Fast, he's got an imp to sell to ESOPs.
So this bottom remote, I guess we can speculate that's a Jackson?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, if it was an economy asset, Brendan would have rezzed it.
That's true, he didn't res it last turn, so it's not a pad or anything. I mean, I guess it could be a breaking news or something as well, and even an Astro.
But yeah, as we discussed earlier, there's a chance that Joey will check unresed remotes to try and hunt down the Jacksons.
Yeah, I mean, obviously killing Jacksons is key for noise if you especially the third one. I mean, you might get lucky mill 1 or 2, but the third one might bring them back. So it's good to get them all kind of out of the game. Meanwhile, what's Brendan going to do? Okay, so he's going to score this NPD. So he's obviously decided not to leave it on the table any longer. It didn't look like Joe was going to steal it though.
Yeah,
you get the feeling it was safe.
For it. Yeah. So it suggests that Brendan either wants the remote for something or he's a little bit agenda flooded.
Yeah, I think it's just to me that he's got an agenda that he'd like to put in that remote next turn. I wouldn't be surprised next turn maybe to install the Vice and then install in that remote, and then credit or some other action. Let's see.
I mean, look, Joey's bounced back economically, so he's not that far away from Brendan to the point that hitting a successful mid-seasons is going to be quite tough at this point.
Yeah, his imp is blank, so he can't protect against that.
He could
anymore.
sell it, then clone chip it, for example.
Yeah, he could do. Yeah, he might be thinking about selling it. Oh no, he's already trashed the cash. So he does check the remote. Okay, so it is a Jackson, which Brendan's happy to tax him. I think that's reasonable.
It depends what's in the bin. But
yeah, if he doesn't have any agendas in the bin or anything like that, then I think that's a reasonable decision. So Joe's
another imp comes up.
Yeah. So it looks like Joey's fairly happy to continue milling now. He knows there's no Jacksons. It's not worth running archives then, we assume. Unless maybe there could be, say, a breaking news in there or some small agenda that.
Yeah, but now
Brendan
Joey's poorer again. He doesn't really want to turn on the mid seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. So just crediting up. I mean, presumably that imp, the older imp's days and numbers, and Aesop will be buying that next turn. But
yeah,
so
Aesop buys a lot of very useless cards. I
don't know who he sells them onto, but yeah. Okay, so Brendan does install this remote. So I think that's from an agenda. What do you think?
I mean, you wonder if it's an Astro script and he's got like a wraparound data to Raven or
double wraparound
or double data Raven server. Yeah. Something hideous. It could be a Sansan, right? Ready to just potentially try and score.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Brendan's deck has Sansans in it, but I think that's reasonable. If you see one, it's reasonable to put it into a server like this that looks kind of.
I discussed Sansan in this kind of deck with him, and I think he at one point came around to the idea that it's really good for just creating a loss of credits for the.
Yeah, because they have to
runner.
trash it,
yeah.
And if they don't, then you can just start scoring Astros.
And it's another thing you can put in a remote to make them check.
So Joey checked archives, and there's nothing in it. We did see a Scorch, though. One Scorch.
There's a Cyberdex, though, so he lost his imp tokens.
Yes, and he accessed Cyberdex, so it did purge the imp. He's going to check the remote, so he does hit a wraparound. It's going to take
decision here about whether to use the Faust or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take almost all of his hand, which makes it not exactly safe, so he does, in fact, end the run. And then he kills the Quandary on R&D.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's safe to Faust through that wraparound there, because if Brendan has a mid-seasons and it's an agenda, then you'll have hardly any hand size left to sustain any, meat damage.
Yeah, I agree. So a clot install. I guess that's good against traditional NEH. Maybe it's good against kind of breaking news Astro hijinks.
I think he's just going to install it, get the mill,
sell it for 3 credits. I think
sell
it next turn. Yeah.
I mean, it clogs up the memory a bit in case he wants to run HQ through the.
So we've got an install in the remote and just some credits. So no interest in icing R&D. Is that interesting?
Brendan may not have any ice. These builds are pretty light.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, he didn't even try and draw. Yeah.
I mean, you wonder whether this is a kill attempt going on here, whether that's a breaking news. It's advanced once if Joey decides to not get in or can't get in.
I mean, on the other hand, maybe he has the mid-seasons in hand and doesn't really care. he's happy for
again,
Joey's
the credit difference is not that high, but
yeah, that's true.
I don't think Joey wants to go through the wraparound.
So in an earlier game, I believe it was against Laurie, we saw Brendan pretty much tied with the runner.
Yeah.
And his turn after an agenda score was restructure mid-seasons. Yeah. So unlike the game we saw earlier, I forget who it was. Who was playing?
Dan.
Yeah, that's right. It was Dan, who was playing his economy as it came out. He very deliberately kept some in hand.
Brendan very sneaky like that.
Yeah, to make the mid-seasons do a lot more damage than the runner might have originally thought. Yeah, and that game actually is great. It was great to watch. So we're going to see two mediums installed.
Oof.
And a check on R&D. So just some economy and an Astro. Okay, so he has stolen an Astro, so he's got 1 click left.
Might as well go again, right?
Yeah, I mean, going again for 5 points. Now that you've stolen an agenda, going again for 5 cards, 3 fresh cards is not
Joey's
unreasonable.
Made himself poor enough that if he's going to get mid-seasons, he's going to get mid-seasons.
Yeah, it's just going to happen, yeah. At least if you go again... Yeah, you're going to see 3 fresh cards.
I wonder whether he could have checked this remote agenda by clone chipping the Corroder that we saw come off the Peddler earlier. Because that would have been 1 credit through the wraparound.
That's not a bad suggestion, and it will give you you'd have a whole hand of cards
The
to deal
wraparound
with
is
whatever's
the bane
behind.
of his life with fast at this point, so...
I mean, maybe the clone chip
I mean, he might be thinking he wants to hold it for clot, but...
Or cash.
Yeah.
So in fact he uses it to install imps, so okay, so he's going to run HQ instead, and he's going to take 1 next. He has a Grimoire and 5 MU of programs installed, and he's going to try and hit
this is another wild side.
He's going
to not that upset about that.
Try and hit the mid-seasons, or at least something to disrupt his imminent death. Okay, so this is a traffic accident, which I quite like.
Pretty
so
pleased about that, I think.
It's not a mid-seasons, but
on the plus side, it's probably it's one of the potential kill pieces.
So Brendan's reaction was actually quite funny. Everyone was like, Brendan was like, and everyone around was like, and Brendan's like, So he hasn't immediately played the mid-season, so I guess we suspect that
he might be thinking about the potential for whether he thinks he can draw into the kill pieces. I mean, I probably would still play it here if I had it, because you can then just trash. Yeah. You can trash the wild side, trash the ESOPs again, cover noise in tags when you have zero credits.
I think if he has mid-seasons, he plays it, but I think because Joey now has no money, I think he might have had mid-seasons, traffic, and the Scorching Hand, and now does not. So he drew 2. No, sorry, he had managed to draw. He drew. Obviously, did not draw into the mid-seasons. So he's going to restructure into
the mid-seasons.
He's going to restructure into mid-seasons. He obviously didn't draw a replacement kill piece, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a.
So Joey's just tagged now. There's nothing.
Yeah. So,
but he's in a reasonably strong position. I mean, he's got 2 mediums with 2 tokens on and an open R&D.
And he's tagged, so whatever.
Yeah, he's never clearing these tags.
Yeah.
His resources are forfeit.
They're all going to go soon. Yeah. So
and Faust is going to allow him to get in pretty much anywhere he wants.
That's right. So he's going to. Having said that, if he doesn't,
the penalty of potentially putting himself in line for a death.
If he doesn't win in the next 2 turns, he might find he doesn't get a third. So let's see.
So he sells the clot.
He sells clot, which seems reasonable.
Might as well sell whatever you can at this point, right?
Yeah.
That's the one to sell because he's got the imps for seeing deeper in R&D, right?
He wants the imps.
He's going to see a lot of cards this turn.
So he's going to see 5 on this run.
Right,
so
takes the breaking news.
Okay, so it's up to 3. He sees a mystery card. I can tell the way Brendan's holding
takes
them.
another Astro. He's
going to imp
very
traffic.
Rough.
Yeah.
And he's going to go again, and
he can't steal it. He makes sad NAPD face. But he
takes a credit,
takes credit, runs again.
And that's
so Brendan has immediately worked out what's going on, but he's got Jackson.
Right, so he's going to shuffle the deck.
But he's also going to show Joey 7 new cards.
Yeah, I mean, instead of an auto loss, it's a really, really rough situation.
Yeah, so instead of losing immediately, but he does put in all the kill pieces.
It looks like Joey was lucky to have milled some kill pieces and hit some with them.
So
that's a death of death. As you see the bottom of Brendan shuffling.
So but there's not a lot of agendas in there. I bet they're all in hand.
I thought he was.
So he's going to access 7. So unfortunately, the way Brendan held these, I couldn't see them, but he didn't access any. He did access breaking news.
Well, that's not that helpful.
No, it's not helpful at all. But he accessed 7 cards, didn't see any agendas, and he couldn't imp anything. So there may have been. Okay, he's going to go again. See what he's got. Bunch of mystery cards.
We stole one, so he's going to get another 2 accesses.
I'll give you the short story. He sees 3 new non-agendas. I don't know, because I couldn't tell. Based on the angle he was holding them at, I couldn't tell what the cards were.
So now, I mean...
Yeah. It's tough.
So if Brendan has the kill now's the time to go for it. But he ices... What's the point? I don't think you bother icing him.
So he's trying to work out what to do. He has to do something. He knows he has to do something.
So he's getting a draw. So he's drawing, icing...
So is there an argument... He's going to close the counts, sure. Is there an argument, because he just saw 9 cards, is there an argument to purging? Even if he runs a bunch, he's not going to see that many cards again.
Yeah, maybe. Probably, actually. I think you're probably right.
I mean, he might have hoped that Joey would see a CVS on during his massive dive.
I think he potentially should have put the CVS back instead of one of the traffic accidents. So he put back through traffic accident. It's not
a bad shout. You know the very next click is going to be a run.
And it's a deep run as well, right?
Yeah, it's like 9. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. Yeah. But he also just wants to draw kill pieces.
So here we go. Joey thinking that could well be an agenda and as an advanced card in Butcher Shop. What else is it going to be?
Yeah, so he's given up on.
He's got the credits.
R&D.
So what? You just Faust through the wraparound and then eat a Data Raven tag. Oh no,
Yeah, well that's it. Data Raven is blank now because
Yeah.
if you're not going to clear the tags, so he's going to run.
Brendan in a really rough position this time.
Joey's going to pitch 5 cards.
So even if it's an NAPD, he can afford to steal it. So.
Yeah, that's it. So he's got the money for an NAPD. So he's choosing what to throw away.
Brendan,
but it's Data Raven, so that doesn't matter. Yeah. But also that's game. Wow. Okay. So that was quite interesting. I would say the turning point of that game was when Joey stole the agenda and then decided to run HQ just to imp them. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's the solution. I mean, you described the deck as arrogant because it assumes...
No, that is the only solution, though.
Because you assume it... Yeah, that's it. So I guess you just grab an imp and run on HQ and hope. HQ tends to be fairly lightly defended against noise, I think.
I think you shove a wraparound on there if you've played that matchup a lot, if you've got it.
Yeah.
Because you can then protect anything you want to keep in your hand a lot more easily.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I mean, I've played that matchup a lot. Well, a similar matchup, I guess. I normally end up playing Astrobiotics.
Yes.
So I've played against Joey.
Against
Joey playing noise, and it's a similar situation that you don't want them to imp your biotic labours or anything like that. So,
yeah. Okay.
You have to defend HQ with something.
Yes. So I think it was. So in some ways, maybe Brendan was unfortunate to lose that kill piece, but presumably he had a handful of stuff that would have been useful. Full of kill pieces. Maybe he had more than one mid-season.
I think maybe he should have put the CVS back through with the Jackson.
I think that would have been quite strong. It would have meant the medium was almost certainly purged on the next run. Although, having said that,
wasn't
Joey
that the 4th click run though? Wasn't it? So maybe you don't. I don't know.
No. So he ran once to see a bunch of cards, including the NPD, and then he that was on click 1, and then he took a credit and then ran on click 3. Right. And that's when the Jackson fired. So yeah, it would have prevented another run on click 4. I don't know. Although he might have run the remote even at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it doesn't matter what that. If it's an agenda, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a ghost branch, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it could be like a June bug or something. That'd be
ghost
crazy.
Branch. Yeah. Name dropping. Cool cards.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a ghost branch, but
I know Seamus ran a ghost branch in his Blue Sun deck at Nationals and got a lot of people with it.
That whole sentence made me lose all respect for Seamus.
Come on.
Ghost Branch in Wayland. Okay, sure.
Well, it's an advanceable trap.
Yeah, okay. No, okay. I'll give you that. He had Shattered Remains. I remember seeing that on camera as well. Okay. Joey smuddles through and continues. So we're going to see Joey once again.
I think that's muddles through is a good way of describing how these noise decks perform. They just kind of have a sort of anarch-esque answer to everything.
Yeah. So Brendan drops out. He's finished 4th. So he got was it Matt? I think it was Matt's top. No, his deck box was top 4 because we were doing a winter kit.
Did we bust open 2 winter kits for this? I can't remember. Or 2 summer kits.
No, it would have been summer kits. Sorry,
we haven't had the winter kits.
No, sorry, yeah, summer kit. It was Fems and stuff. Yeah,
annoying
swordsman for everyone. Yeah. Brendan went home with 4th place prize. Joey will continue in our next game.
So Reading still lives in their own BABW.
That's it. So
Joey valiantly carrying the torch.
Yeah, alone. I don't think any other Reading player made the cut. Ollie.
Did Ollie make the cut?
He did. He's 8th. Player, yeah. He's 8th. Yeah.
I think he kind of dropped straight out.
In contradiction to some of my earlier commentary in which I said that he dropped out, he actually did make the cut in 8th. So it turns out I'm wrong when I commentate. So next we're going to see Joey. Next, we're going to see Joey play his noise against Laurie. So Laurie was the guy who knocked him into the loser bracket. So he's come back out of the loser bracket, hopefully to get revenge, and he's going to play his noise against Laurie's RP.
Joey's very comfortable playing noise at this point. So
yeah, I get the feeling that he was quite annoyed that to have been forced to play RP twice. Like, I think he considers his corpse side weaker than his runner side, or at least in this tournament, he considered his noise stronger than his RP.
So it is like I still think that matchup is very much in favour of Joey's RP over the Max.
Yeah. So he's now going to. So it's reversed for this game from when they played before in the elimination. So noise. So Joey will play noise against Laurie's RP.
So we'll see the other side. Good.
Yes, that's right. So I should very quickly mention that if you would like to watch any more of our videos, you of course can do so at the website neoredinggrid.co.uk. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook as well. And if you are incredibly generous, then all contributions are appreciated to our Patreon campaign, which helps improve all the videos, and all investment does go back into the channel. I don't pocket any of it, although maybe I should, but I don't.
You've spent it profligately in all these nice new toys for recording and streaming and things like that.
Yeah. All that's left is for me to thank James for helping out with this video, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.